Bitcoin staking is just one example of Bitcoin security sharing. So at Babylon, our vision is to build a Bitcoin secured decentralized world. The approach we take towards this vision is to design a suite of security sharing protocols.
None of the information in this podcast constitutes investment advice or an offer, recommendation, or solicitation by WAGMI Ventures or any of its affiliates to buy or sell any securities. Hey everyone, Fenga here with WAGMI Ventures podcast. On today's episode, we have Fisher Yu, co-founder of Babylon Chain, one of the leading projects in the Bitcoin staking narrative, and one I'm very excited about. They're developing a Bitcoin staking protocol where you can stake Bitcoin as a time lock on the Bitcoin block, make it slashable with no bridges, and using it to secure other proof of stake chains. For anyone who is new, this is the WAGMI Ventures podcast, where we do snapshots with interesting builders and founders across crypto and AI. Check out wagmiventures.io to learn more about the syndicate behind the podcast. For now, let's enjoy the conversation with Fisher. Absolutely great to have you on the show today. Thank you for joining us to talk all things Bitcoin staking.
Hello, Benga. Hello, everyone. It's my great honor to be invited for this podcast. Hopefully, we can have a very enjoyable conversation for the next few while.
Awesome. I'm very excited to have you. And I'd just like to start with you sharing with our listeners your journey into crypto and the eventual inspiration to start Babylon.
Yeah, sure. So my first encounter with crypto or the decentralized world is actually by the incident. When I was doing my PhD topic was about network information theory and network security. In the last year of my PhD, I invented a decentralized media delivery platform that allows multimedia like audio, video, anything like text to be distributed from one source to the destination in a decentralized way without any centralized server's control. I then sold this IP to Dolby Laboratories in the US. And then I went to University of Southern California to do my postdoc research focused on decentralized system security, aka blockchain security. And my postdoc supervisor was Professor David Shade's student. So that's how I get to know my co-founder, Professor David Shade from Stanford University. And since then, I have been doing academic research and industry consulting, blockchain industry consulting with Professor David Shade for a few years until 2021. Then we had a lot of collaborations with EigenLayer's founder, Professor Sri Cannon. And by the end of 2021, we realized a trend that is very interesting called security sharing. Because by 2021, there are like 1,000 chains and DeFi projects. Many of them struggle with the bootstrapping of their security and users. So we came up with the concept of security sharing, where bigger chains lend security to the smaller ones to help them bootstrap. Okay, so this is the original idea behind security sharing. Then, we decided to build our own systems to realize this security sharing concept. And Professor Sriran picked the ETH ecosystem and founded EigenLayer. And David and I picked Bitcoin, and then we co-founded the Babylon project. So this is my journey into crypto, birth of the Babylon project.
Wow, that's very fascinating. Just to think about how you transitioned into the space. Obviously, we're very familiar with David and his work in the space, and even the fascinating work he'd done on telecommunications, even way before all of this. Really love that you touched on the security sharing aspect of what really staking is. And so can you sort of just give us some context about when you say security sharing? So what is Bitcoin? What is Bitcoin staking? And how does it consequently work on Babylon?
Yeah, sure. So just to clarify, Bitcoin staking is just one example of Bitcoin security sharing. So at Babylon, our vision is to build a Bitcoin secured decentralized world. And the way we would like to approach we take towards this vision is to design a suite of security sharing protocols. Okay, and Bitcoin staking is the latest development. And indeed, before Bitcoin staking, we have designed other security sharing protocols. The first one was based on merge mining, and we very quickly realized that merge mining doesn't work because the merge miners can jeopardize the side chain without jeopardizing its own Bitcoin mainnet mining. So there's misalignment of the interest. So quickly, forget about that. And then the next protocol we designed, it's called Bitcoin timestamp, which allows any proof of stake systems or literally any data to be very efficiently timestamped to Bitcoin so that you can have immutable history recorded on Bitcoin. So this protocol was what we mainly focused on in 2022, in the first few months of 2023. Then we realized that Bitcoin timestamping is very efficient, it's very cheap and very secure. The only problem of it is slow, because for everything you would be secured by Bitcoin through timestamping, the source of the security comes from the proof of work hash rate, hash power of Bitcoin. It means you need to wait for the Bitcoin block to be confirmed on Bitcoin before the security is guaranteed. That means for Bitcoin timestamping security, you need to wait for at least 1 hour before you can confirm anything, because it takes at least 1 hour for your data to be recorded on Bitcoin and then confirmed by the Bitcoin chain through its proof of work. Then we ask ourselves, can we reach faster confirmation or faster security? Okay. Then we look around about what kind of security can be much faster than Bitcoin. The natural answer is proof of stake. So in a proof of stake system, instead of proof of work, people stake their asset to become the validator of a blockchain system. They verify blocks, propose blocks, and vote for blocks. And usually a decision can be made in the order of seconds, or even in the order of hundreds of milliseconds if the blockchain is fast enough. So this provides fast confirmation. So then we ask ourselves, can we somehow combine Bitcoin with proof of stake systems? Then we realize the natural solution here is to turn Bitcoin into a stakeable asset for proof of stake systems. And this motivated the Bitcoin staking protocol that we have developed and we are about to launch. So Bitcoin staking, it turns Bitcoin, the coin, not the proof of work, okay, the coin into a stakeable asset for any proof of stake system. Then to understand this statement, I would like to first address the definition of staking. As I just mentioned, staking means people or validators, they stake or lock their asset in a certain place and gain the right to validate the blockchain. Okay. Then why does such locking provide security to proof of stake system? The reason is that if you, the staker or the validator, act maliciously by attacking the POS system, then the asset you locked will actually be slashed. So this serves as an economical deterrence so that validators and stakers will not attack the POS system. So proof of stake system, its security level is measured by how much asset or what's the value of the asset that it's locked and staked in the system. Okay. So by turning Bitcoin into a stakeable asset, what we actually achieved is to turn Bitcoin into a slashable asset for proof of stake systems. And the challenge of achieving this is that Bitcoin is not smart enough. For every single proof of stake system, it's slashing its evidence based. When a validator acts maliciously, because everything is cryptographic, there will be trace of this malicious behaviors, which serves as evidence. For example, if you try to fork the chain, it means you have to vote for 2 different blocks at the same height of a POS chain. Okay, then you will be observed to conduct the double signing or double spending attack. And this evidence will be presented to the chain, either to a smart contract of the chain or to the built-in code of the chain. And this piece of code will verify the evidence and then slash the crypto asset you have locked and staked in the chain. So everything is evidence-based. However, coin chain is not smart. Okay, it does not have smart contract capability. Its built-in code does not provide any evidence verification and then slashing service. So how to make Bitcoin slashable, correctly slashable, is a big challenge. Before Babylon, there are other projects that try to do this. Most of them failed because eventually what they do is to bridge Bitcoin to a smarter chain and then make the synthetic Bitcoin on that smarter chain a staking asset. The big problem here is the bridging, because Bitcoin doesn't have a smart contract. So in order to bridge Bitcoin to another chain, the Bitcoin holder actually has to give the control of its Bitcoin to the team behind the bridge. Okay, so that means Bitcoin bridging is not self-custodial. You actually give your Bitcoin away to the third-party bridge. To bridge off Bitcoin chain is easy. But when the time comes for you to redeem your Bitcoin, you will be at the mercy of the bridge team to give you Bitcoin back. So this is very bad for Bitcoin holders because it's a very famous saying that not to your keys, not to your coins. So Bitcoin holders don't want to do bridging. Okay, so this makes Bitcoin staking almost impossible before tackles it. And what we do at Babylon is to build a trustless and self-custodial Bitcoin staking protocol where a Bitcoin holder does not have to trust any third party or give its Bitcoin to any third party or trust any oracle like Price Oracle or any custody or the state of another chain. Nothing. As long as the Bitcoin chain is safe and live, the Bitcoin holder who is honest is guaranteed to can have his Bitcoin back for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Hey everybody, quick thing here. We're excited to announce WAGMI Advisory, your home for all things fundraising, hiring, and partnerships. This is all about supercharging your project with the WAGMI network, consisting of over 20,000 executives, investors, and builders in crypto, all ready to come alongside your project to help it succeed. Get in touch at team@wagmiventures.io to learn more and figure out if WAGMI Advisory is the right fit for your project. Let's get back to the show. But, definitely appreciate you breaking staking down from the top all the way down to your work at Babylon, turning Bitcoin into a stakeable asset natively. We're going to come back to unpack the bridging piece, but just wanted to ask, as you talk about making Bitcoin into a stakeable asset, the top characteristics for any stakeable asset would be its trustlessness, non-custodial, which you touched on, slashability, which is key. You also touched on that. I'll include there early unbonding, delegation, and restaking. Can you walk me through how Babylon has achieved all of this, particularly on slashability? How is Babylon avoiding double signing? And you touched on this early when you talked about other teams that have tried to achieve this. Also, can you share some details on unbonding, given you built the staking on a POS with the innovative BTC time lock feature that was developed by Babylon, just to address some of the challenges of Bitcoin programmability?
First thing first, what defines a staking asset? Okay. There are only two definitive features of a staking asset. First, it's slashable. The purpose of staking to a POS system is to increase security. And as I explained, security comes from the slashability of the asset, so that it can serve as an economic deterrence. Okay, so slashing it's a definitive feature of staking. And the second feature is unbonding, the ability to unbond. You are staking your you are not selling or burning your token, right? So you can stake. So you should definitely be able to unstake bond. So slashing and the ability to unbond are the two definitive features of a staking asset. Then below that, there are nice to have features, like very important nice to have features. One is delegation. Delegation means you as a staker doesn't have to run the validation service by yourself. Maybe you only have, say, $100 worth of whatever token to do staking, but running a validation service requires you to have a high performance computer, high speed internet. You need to run it for 24/7, right? So the infra cost will be very high, and doesn't make economic sense for you to only stake $100 and running infra for like thousands of dollars a year. Okay, so delegation means you can delegate your voting power to a professional validator or third-party validator. So this is called delegated proof of stake, which is very important for a proof of stake system to work, because otherwise a proof of stake system will be dominated by whales who have both the asset to stake and has the money to run infra. So DPoS is very important, delegation. And the next nice to have property is fast unbonding. For proof of stake systems, the unbonding time is usually like 2 to 4 weeks. So that's not very good for liquidity. So if you can do something to reduce the unbonding time without sacrificing the security of the POS system, then it will be very good for the liquidity of the staking asset. So nice to have features include delegatable and fast unbonding. And then you also mentioned properties of trustless and self-custodial. They are not the definitive feature of proof of stake systems. Why? Because most of proof of stake systems, they are smart. So these two properties, you don't need to mention it. It's built in. It's by default. But for Bitcoin, this is not the case. Okay, Bitcoin is not smart, so you can't naturally have trustless and self-custodial staking on Bitcoin. So this is why we emphasize that we make Bitcoin achieve these two basic properties of the proof of stake asset. So what we actually achieve is to make Bitcoin a first-class staking asset that achieves all the properties of proper proof of stake system, staking asset of a proof of stake system. Okay, so does it address the first question? Like, what are the properties of the staking asset?
Yes, I think you touched on the properties, you touched on slashability, you touched on unbonding, fast unbonding. But if you could just also like unpack how Babylon avoids double signing, that would be helpful as well.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that's the next topic I would like to elaborate. Okay, as I explained a little bit earlier, all the slashing mechanisms in existing POS systems are evidence-based. You need to present the evidence to a piece of code that handles slashing. And that piece of code verifies the slashing, the evidence, and then execute the slashing. But Bitcoin is not smart, so it does not have the ability to verify evidence. For example, I cannot go to Bitcoin miners and say, hey, look, Vanguard just beat me up. See all the bruises on my body? Yeah, please slash Vanguard. Bitcoin miners, yeah, they don't understand this.
Right.
You don't understand this. So how can we achieve correct slashing without asking Bitcoin to become smart? That's the key question. So what we do is we bypass this concept of evidence-based slashing. What does it mean? For Bitcoin to be slashed, we don't need evidence. We skip this intermediary step of evidence. Okay, what we achieve is that cryptographically, if a validator of the POS system acts maliciously by forking the POS system, the private key that locks the Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chain will be cryptographically decryptable, so that anyone can use this private key and go to Bitcoin chain and burn the Bitcoin. So previously, it's malicious activity leads to evidence submitted to the chain, and code slashing. We skip the intermediate step. So malicious behavior will result in private key decryption. Then the decryption private key can be directly used to burn the Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chain. And we achieve this through the cryptographic property of a signature algorithm called Schnorr signature, which is supported by the Bitcoin chain. So Schnorr signature has a property that if you use the same nonce, the nonce is a random number generated to sign messages, by the way. If you use the same nonce to sign two different messages, okay, then your Schnorr private key is decryptable. This is the property of the Schnorr signature. So we turn this property into a slashable property where if a validator try to fork the POS system by voting for two different blocks at the same height, then its Schnorr private key can be decrypted so that anyone can take this private key and go to Bitcoin chain and slash all the Bitcoins dedicated to this validator and thus achieve slashing. So slashing only happens if the validator is malicious. So equivalently, we achieve Bitcoin slashing without the need of the evidence. Yeah, this is how we achieve Bitcoin slashing.
Yeah, that's pretty innovative. And I know that's one of the key features that you had mentioned makes a stakeable asset. The other one we touched on was non-custodial staking on Babylon, which essentially eliminates the need for bridging, giving successful and also innovative native Bitcoin staking mechanism. I believe you guys refer to it in your white paper as remote staking. Yeah, as I think about that, like what are your thoughts and plans for liquid staking on Babylon? I know you recently launched a partnership with Bedrock where they have the UniBTC. UniBTC liquid Bitcoin restaking token. Can you share more on that?
Yeah, sure. So after the launch of the Bitcoin staking protocol, the Bitcoin liquid staking market emerges because for project to do liquid staking, they need the staking to happen first. Right? We have been collaborating with quite a few liquid staking projects, which I will not name here. The idea behind liquid staking is that if you do native staking, okay, you will lock your asset for the whole period of your staking. That means your asset is not liquid. But what the basic idea behind liquid staking is that you stake through them so that they can issue you a liquid staking token that is one-to-one mapping to the native asset so that you can use this mapped or synthetic token as a liquid token to do other things. And then when you want to redeem, you burn this synthetic token and get your native token back. So this is the basic idea behind liquid staking protocols. But in terms of bit staking, the idea is similar. Then if you participate in liquid staking protocols, then you will stake your Bitcoin through the liquid staking protocols. Okay, so then it's no longer trustless and self-custodial because you will share the control of your Bitcoin with the liquid staking protocols. Okay, it's no longer. Yeah, but the staking from liquid staking protocols to Babylon, it's still trustless and self-custodial. It's just between liquid staking users and liquid staking protocol, it is no longer fully trustless and self-custodial. By taking a higher risk, you gain the liquidity because the liquid staking protocols will issue you liquid staking tokens so that you can use these tokens to do other things while your real Bitcoin, the native Bitcoin, is staked to Babylon by the LST projects.
And just going back to your points on board unbonding, how does that play out in a liquid stake scenario?
Yeah, so Babylon has a built-in unbonding time, or Bitcoin unbonding time of 1 week. Okay, so that means for any Bitcoin, native Bitcoin to be unbonded, it will take a week. But I guess you are asking about whether this 1 week will apply to liquid staking protocols or not. My answer
Exactly.
is, it depends. It depends. Okay, so just a disclaimer. I'm not a LST developer or designer. I'm just sharing my personal understanding of how LST works. Okay, so LSTs to reserve its liquidity, you will not stake all the bitcoins you have to the Bobblen Bitcoin staking protocol. You will reserve a small portion as like a cash reserve. So for small amount of Bitcoin redemption, that should be very fast because the LSD project doesn't have to unbound the Bitcoin from the Bobblen protocol. It can use its cash or reserve to pay for the redemption. But for very large amount of Bitcoin redemption, then you might have to wait at least 1 week because the LSD project unbound a significant chunk of the native Bitcoin from the Bobblen protocol.
That makes sense. Yeah. And no, I know you're just sharing your personal take on it, but that's also very helpful. I'm going to take a step back here and just thinking of the Babylon value proposition of security sharing for proof of stake chains. Obviously, we touched on EigenLayer earlier. It's a similar proposition. You helped me draw parallels and distinctions between your approach versus EigenLayer's approach to security sharing.
So EigenLayer pioneered the concept of Bobblen is Bitcoin staking. You see, there's a difference, restaking and staking. So what EigenLayer did is to make the already staked ETH have more utility by restake the ETH to the ABS systems and earn extra yield. Okay, it's restaking. So what it does is the step 1 to 10 for ETH token. However, what Bobblen does is from 0 to 10. We do one more step compared to EigenLayer. This is the most critical step, which is staking. Coin is currently not stakeable. We make it stakeable first. So the 0 to 1 step. And then we make Bitcoin restakeable. That's the 1 to 10 step. So compared to EigenLayer, we do one more step in it. And also, the source of the security is different. In EigenLayer's case, it's mainly the ETH. In Bobblen's case, it's the Bitcoin. Also, the demand side is different. EigenLayer addresses ABS. We currently mainly focus on bringing security to POS chains and rollups, not ABS. So we all work towards a shared security vision, but what we do on the ecosystem we are in are different. What we do are different. The supply and demand are also different. So we are quite complement to each other.
Awesome. Thank you. I think it's always interesting when you kind of see the different chains and how they approach the technology solutions, but always being able to draw those distinctions help. Obviously, being a pioneer in the space, EigenLayer has also a lot of, or rather extended a lot of that to the scaling blockchains or the L2s that are based. We're seeing similar happening in the Bitcoin ecosystem as well with the explosion of Bitcoin L2s. As it relates to Babylon, the Bitcoin L2s, how are you engaging them? And are their needs the same relative to the Ethereum L2s? Yeah.
Yeah, good question. So indeed, when I mentioned that our addressable market, at least what we are focusing on right now, are POS chains and L2s. I didn't specify it is ETH L2 or Bitcoin L2. Actually, we work with both ETH L2s and Bitcoin L2. Then what's the difference between Bitcoin L2 and ETH L2? Of course, the source of security is different, and what they are looking for is also different, and which is exactly what Bobblen can provide them. Okay, now with Bobblen Bitcoin staking, what do you get as a consumer of Bitcoin staking? So first, obviously you get Bitcoin security. So your system is secured by Bitcoin. And second, it's liquidity. Okay, by because of Bubble's Bitcoin staking, there are liquid staking protocols, so that through these liquid staking protocols, your system can get Bitcoin liquidity. Okay. And three, it's Bitcoin users. You use Bitcoin security and you pay Bitcoin holders your native token, then Bitcoin holders will naturally become the users of your system or your application, so that you don't have to bootstrap your own user base from zero. All the Bitcoin holders are your potential users. So Bubble Bitcoin staking brings the L2s, Bitcoin security, Bitcoin liquidity, and Bitcoin users. So security is just the basis. Liquidity and users are also very important for the success of blockchain project. And Bubble will bring all the three to these projects.
Awesome. I thank you for kind of talking into that. I think one of the things we want to just understand is really the scale of all of this and how your team is managing it, whether it's supporting a lot of the L2s across ETH and Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to extend. And even in the early days of your scaling, I think you launched two testnets, the last one being testnet 4 back in May. Both had very strong interest and demand, which definitely validates a strong product market fit. With your upcoming mainnet launch, how is your team preparing for the strong demand? And I guess eventually, how does it tie into your long-term vision for Babylon? And what challenges do you see that presumably lay ahead?
Okay, sure. Okay. Staking, it's a two-sided market, security sharing market. The supply side, the security brought by Bitcoins from Bitcoin holders, and the demand side, proof of stake systems like chains, L2s, oracles, DA layers. Okay. In February, we launched testnet 3, which involves a Bitcoin chain and the Babylon proof of stake chain, where the Babylon proof of stake chain accepts Bitcoin staking asset and gets secured. And then, it was a huge success. We received more than 100K stakes within 48 hours of the launch of the testnet. That's really a lot. And then we realized that this market is huge, and this Bitcoin staking initiative is huge. We need to take it very carefully, because we are enabling the third native use case of Bitcoin beyond storage of value and single payment. Okay, we are enable the stake to secure and earn. So we need to launch this system very carefully. Then we decided to break down the marketplace and build it step by step. Then that's why in testnet 4, you would notice that in testnet 4, there's no longer a Babylon POS chain. It's just the Bitcoin staking on the Bitcoin side. So through this testnet, we are testing a system where the Bitcoin holders first lock their Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chain. Okay, so we bootstrap the supply side of Bitcoin security. And then the POS chains that consume such security is launched later after the supply side is bootstrapped. So this way, we will be able to build a market in a very healthy way by providing reasonable amount of supply and reasonable amount of demand. And also because the system is built step by step, component by component. So it gives both us and the community more time and opportunity to evaluate its security and fix issues, so that we can have a very solid foundation when the Bitcoin staking system and market become mature. So as of addressing the strong demand, so have a phased launch of the system is part of our answer to this, so that we don't have to deal with all the different type of demands at the same time. On the other hand, we are expanding our engineering team. We talk to different ecosystem participants and builders so that we can design solutions on the POS side, integration side, for both Cosmos chains, Ether apps, and Bitcoin apps, and even roll up as a service, so that all sorts of POS systems can be integrated with the Bitcoin staking smoothly.
Yeah, no, I have to say it's very intentional, deliberate approach, which is amazing to see. You've had a phased approach into your testnet, one being the fourth testnet, and you've done an amazing job integrating and working with several partners across the ecosystem, even beyond your initial build out on the Cosmos stack. So it's really amazing to see the intentionality in which you're building, because as you rightly mentioned, it's sort of like beyond, it's unlocking the security layer, the economic layer of Bitcoin, which is potentially massive if you just look only at the market capitalization alone.
Yes.
But Fisher, we've had a lot of conversation on staking and restaking and the security sharing narrative. As we sort of like close our talk out, I'd like to hear what else in crypto excites you outside of all of this.
Okay, within crypto or outside crypto? Within crypto.
I guess we could do both. Why not?
Okay. Yeah. Within crypto, I would like to see more like two things that would excite me, or actually excite the Boblin project. First, it's more utilities of the Bitcoin beyond just staking. As I mentioned, Bitcoin staking is just one of the security sharing protocols we are working on. We look very much forward to more native use cases and utilities of the Bitcoin. This is one. And the other is I would like to see more real applications of the terms and the decentralized systems in general, because I think that's very important for the long-term prosperity of the entire crypto industry. And outside crypto, my passion lies into traveling. I love traveling a lot, to see different landscapes, different culture, different people. That will inspire me and to broaden my horizon and deeper thinking. So enrich my life.
Thank you for sharing that. I definitely align with you there on traveling. So I can totally appreciate the education that comes with getting outside your immediate area. So exactly. So, but yeah, thank you so much for joining us from the Down Under. We are excited to have had this conversation with you. We hope it was helpful to our listeners for sure. There was definitely a lot of education there, definitely a lot of innovative things that Babylon as a team is working on that you've been able to essentially decipher. Looking forward to the success, or the continued success, I should say, of the project. And thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Benga. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Fisher. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and give us a good 5-star rating and subscribe wherever you're getting your podcasts so you can get all the latest conversations from the most interesting founders, builders, and investors from across the world. Thanks so much, and have a good one.